Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Robby Soave.
And I'm Amber Duke.
The View's Whoopi Goldberg was criticized after appearing to downplay the plight of women in Iran when compared with black people suffering racism in the US. Watch this.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not, no one at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But, yeah, I know that. And we all know that. But every day, we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you, because that's not what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot have property. They cannot leave states.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent.
Good.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
But another Democrat, CNN commentator Van Jones, surprised some people when he said that he thinks fellow liberals don't appreciate just how bad Iran really is. Take a look.
I think progressives underestimate how dangerous Iran is. Iran is not a normal country. Normal countries don't blind women because they showed some hair. They don't empower little gangs and proxies to surround a country and fire rockets and rape people. So Iran, the two things are clear. The what, they cannot have a bomb, and the why, because they say death to America, death to Israel, and death to all the Jews. One of those should offend you if you're progressives. At least one should offend you. And so the question, though, is the who and the how. Is Israel going to take out this nuclear capacity by dropping people there who blow it up, or is America going to take it out by dropping a bomb that blows it up? But the what and the why are clear, and I think progressives should get on board with that. We cannot have a nuclear-armed Iran. I was in the region. You were in the region. This is a very dangerous power that cannot get a nuclear weapon.
Some interesting clips there. I was surprised. I don't know, maybe if I listened to Van Jones more, that opinion from him would not surprise me. I think it is fine and good to have a sort of moral condemnation of the Iranian regime and how they force people to live. That was actually the part of the Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson argument where I more sided with Ted Cruz when he says I spend significant amounts of time trying to platform dissidents or women who speak out about the human rights abuses. Are you saying there's something wrong with that? And I agree that that is a perfectly fine thing to do. That's not involving government force. So I appreciated hearing that from Van Jones. I still think I do fundamentally disagree that we can let them get a nuclear weapon. Maybe we shouldn't. We're debating whether we shouldn't. How much are we willing to do to stop it? Are they more of an outlier in terms of their craziness or the regime's craziness than North Korea or China or Pakistan? Is when you start to lose me in terms of, are they like, that's because of the Islamic fundamentalism? I'm just not sold. I'm not sold on that concept at all.
So I think that the progressives
the leader of North Korea is pretty crazy.
He is very crazy. I think that the progressives are having a hard time keeping separate the idea that Iran is a bad actor with non-interventionism.
Yes.
Whereas I think the right understands that Iran is a threat and ideally would not like to see them get a nuclear weapon and recognizes that they subjugate their people and there's no like moral relativism or moral equivocation.
Do people just struggle with the reality that they're bad and they're bad, but there's really nothing we should do about it? Like that's unsatisfying for people, even though in most circumstances that just is the answer.
I think that's what's happening with Whoopi Goldberg in that clip is like she can't square the circle and like.
Well, she didn't understand the fundamental difference is that Iran has government-based suppression of women, and you can criticize the lived reality of different groups in America, but it's not a level of government suppression. There used to be government suppression of black people, but we have gotten rid of that in the law as we should, which makes us morally superior to Iran, obviously.
Yeah, and then Nina Turner said something similar where she was like, well, women in the US aren't really any better off than women in Iran. And it's like, what freaking universe are
They
you
are.
living in?
They are.
There was a Georgetown professor who was actively cheering Iran striking U.S. embassies
Oh, I saw.
and
Yeah, he
bases.
deleted that.
Yeah, what a sicko.
Well, he
so-
said, well, in fairness to, I mean, you could still have that opinion, obviously. He said he wasn't trying to say he wanted that to happen. What he meant to say was he thought that would be the least bad thing, is if they, like he said, I hope, what he meant to say is, I hope all they do is hit some bases, and not I hope they hit some bases.
based on his history and his.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, he's married to a Islamic fundamentalist whose father-in-law is was deported for terrorist sympathizing, and yeah, he has a long history of being pretty psychotic. But nonetheless, yeah, I think that they're trying to do this moral equivocation between Iran and the U.S. because, like you said, they're having a hard time justifying a non-interventionist position while also recognizing that Iran is bad. And I think it's because progressives struggle more with a realist foreign policy, whereas the populist right is kind of taking a realist approach, right? It's yes, we recognize they're bad, but the question is, what should we do about their badness?
I agree with you. I do think sometimes some people on the right, increasingly I've seen almost buy into that, as a criticism of our foreign policy, that, well, America's so bad, and I've seen more of that on the right, or comparison to other countries. I mean, Tucker, while again I appreciate him mostly on this subject, did a little bit of that with the Russian train stations and grocery stores or something. Well, that's the ones they're showing you. It's don't fall for the Russian. Go on the PR tour of the communist dictatorship. You're going to see the one functioning grocery store, right?
Yeah.
I think some of that is. I mean, it reminds me of the left of saying everything is America's fault.
Right,
America is the
right.
only mover in foreign policies. Everyone else is just reacting to things America does wrong. They have no agency of their own, which I find so frustrating. At the same time, I'm happy to criticize actions taken by America that I think were not good, or actions by Israel. But we and Israel are also reacting to bad actions taken by terrorist groups. That, it's not, you can't just say it begins and ends with what we did. We are the cause and everything else is the reaction, is such a limited way to see the world.
Yeah, I mean, the left often criticize American intervention in Latin America, which, sure, fair, but also the governments have changed over multiple times since then, and they're all compromised by the cartel.
Right.
For example, in Mexico. Is that the U.S.'s fault? And even in Iran, I've been critical of the 1953 CIA-backed coup, which led to the Shah getting into power. But at the same time, it wasn't just anti-American reaction, but it was that the Shah was actively trying to censor Khamenei and his supporters and put down protest, which led to an even greater backlash and greater support for Khamenei. So it's
The world is complicated.
Yeah, can we not see multiple cause and effects, or it's just all America's bad?
Yeah,
it's lazy.
It is lazy, and the world is messy and complicated, and we mostly want to stay out of it and just have peace, and that's what the American people keep voting for and keep not exactly getting, but we will see. Thanks for watching Free Media today, and for some good news, we're actually going to have an additional Free Media show on Wednesday. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss it. Thanks for watching. Leave some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Talk to you later.